Hello everyone, my name is Youngsuk, and today we will be talking about genetics in MCAT. There are a good amount of materials that we haven't covered in genetics class, and there are key foundational concepts that you should focus on in preparation of MCAT. Those are listed here, mitosis, meiosis, DNA, RNA, protein, upon a scale along with the Hardy-Weinberg principle, mutation, and evolution. Also for the MCAT, most of the questions are passage-based questions, and these questions a lot of times are cross-content based questions, which means if questions are genetics topic, it is very likely that these can be also combined with the concepts of sexual reproduction systems on biology and gene expression on cell biology contents. So let's keep these in mind as we go through the contents. Let's start with mitosis and meiosis. Now for the mitosis and meiosis, here I've listed some key concepts that are fair games for these exams. So first is that you will be given a scenario, and then they will ask you to identify the phases of mitosis or meiosis. Secondly, it is important to understand the purpose of these steps, such as mitosis, meiosis, crossover, and interphase. And even for M1 and M2, they have different purposes. So on a lot of these steps, it's good to understand the purpose and why these are happening. And if you start thinking in terms of why, you'll spend less time having to memorize the detailed facts. Third, this is when mitosis and meiosis get connected to concept of sexual reproduction. So as we have learned that the purpose of mitosis and meiosis is production of gametes. Production of gametes or the sex cells, which are sperms and eggs in this case. And we can apply the concept of mitosis and meiosis to these sex cells, and these processes are called oogenesis and spermatogenesis. As you can see here, we draw these two procedures here, and we can parallel the concept of mitosis and meiosis 1, meiosis 2, as you can see here. I would also know the difference between spermatogenesis and oogenesis. For example, in terms of when does it start, when does it end, when does it start, when does it end, or side of production. So just by looking at this chart, you can see how some of them are very similar in terms of how it starts from mitosis, meiosis, it goes to meiosis 1, meiosis 2, but you can already tell from the graph that they look a little bit different. So here the sperms become 4 haploid, but in terms of ovum, it becomes a 1 haploid plus 2 to 3 polar bodies. So there are a slight difference between these, and there are a lot of terms that go into this process, so make sure you know all of these. As you can see here, as we draw these two procedures, we can also parallel the concept of mitosis, meiosis, and meiosis 2 in the context of reproductive organ. So as you can see here, the reproductive organ of female, there's an ovary and there's a fallopian tube. But you can take this oogenesis process right here and you can apply it right here, and it'll show how it goes from, it starts from here and then go all the way to ovum, and how it meets the sperm that we saw here. So we can coherently connect these concepts and think this way. Next, we are moving on to DNA and RNA. After learning all the concept, I'll definitely know this framework right here, these frameworks right here. When you receive a passage-based questions on these concepts, most likely they will be coming in text format, and you should be able to visualize in these kind of frameworks. I'll definitely know the terms and parts associated with these, along with the concepts of DNA replication, DNA replication, transcription, and translation, along with the enzymes associated with these processes. Lastly, know how these gene expression processes are different in prokaryote and eukaryote. I had a hard time connecting the ideas of chromosome and DNA sometimes, and this image right here helped me a lot. This image connects the idea of chromosome and DNA by showing how two different DNA strands are intertwined together along with the histone to make a nucleosome, and how these are all compacted into the chromatid and how it makes the chromosome all together. Yes, so this is a DNA and RNA chapter, and now we are moving on to the very last page. So this right here, these are the rest of concepts that are frequently tested on MCAT. Shown on the left is a Punnett square along with the Hardy-Weinberg equation. These questions from these concepts do not go too much into depth as how old MCAT used to be, but it is mostly simple math question asking percentage and fractions. It is very important to understand this in context of inheritance pattern, such as autosomal, X-linked, dominant, and recessive. Rest of the materials that you see here, let's see. Yes, these are the rest of materials. These are mostly the conceptual questions that will be asked on MCAT. For these questions, focus on studying the examples of each term, and second, being able to differentiate among same group of terms. So for each term, know the examples and be able to differentiate between the terms. If you want to know more in detail, pause this video and look into these categories of terms. So this should cover most of the contents, probably 90% of the contents that will be covered in MCAT in regards to genetics and what to focus on different topics. Special thanks to Dr. Penn for guidance in this course, and that should finish my summary of genetics in MCAT. Thank you.